And some 2 years after Singapore's central bank set out its requirements for stablecoin users, the city-state's move is starting to bear fruit. The recently passed Genius Act in the US has also added fresh fuel to global stablecoin ambitions. San Jose-headquartered crypto exchange OKX is also making its move, launching the first stablecoin scan-to-pay service, OKX Pay, in Singapore. And CNA's Elizabeth Neo speaks to Gracie Lin, who is CEO of OKX Singapore, on the developments.
MAS was ahead of its time in pushing out stablecoin regulation guidelines ahead of their global peers. But what we're seeing now is actually really encouraging signs that global standards are starting to come down. Across the major markets, regulators are thinking about what they want to put in place to ensure that stablecoin development continues in a sustainable, responsible way, while still ensuring that it can bring the type of utility to payments, to FX conversion, to cross-border trade settlement, all of these good things, while making sure that people who interact with stablecoin are going to be protected. And that's why I feel like there's been this big global push towards high-quality asset-backed stablecoin.
So there is an extra boost from the US's Genius Act. Mm-hmm. And so when we look at the global stablecoin market, how do you see, this act kind of reshaping it? What does this mean for exchanges like OKX? And do you think you could see OKX adjusting its USD stablecoin rails, or issue partnerships for US issuers? And how will all of that action kind of spill over to liquidity for, say, the Singapore market, for one?
The US regulators getting into this has been obviously a big boost to US dollar stablecoins, but honestly, US dollar stablecoins were already on the rise before. So what I think is really important about the Act is that it now sets a very, very clear standard, which is going to be adopted globally because it's the US, a very clear global standard then on what type of stablecoins we should be looking at. It's got to be high quality, it's got to be fully asset-backed. So that clarity is good for all players, including ourselves. And then now we know which partners to work with. Now we know how to integrate that into the service offering for our users.
With further monetary easing expected, how do you see global monetary policy kind of shaping liquidity, risk asset as well in crypto markets, and what kind of impact do you think we could see?
The stablecoins again are at the core of that, right? Because, well, in the past, generally digital assets didn't really move in line with monetary policy. But now, because US dollar stablecoins are, again, kind of the backbone, you may say, right, of that bridge between digital assets and traditional finance. So when the US, when the Federal Reserve decides what they want to do with interest rates, it does have that link now to digital assets, because your big US dollar stablecoins then start to move in tandem, and that obviously will have an impact on the rest of the digital asset space. Of course, there are other factors at play, both macro and as well as project specific, but then that's how then monetary policy, US monetary policy in particular, is then having that transmission channel to digital assets.